Well, hello, good afternoon everybody. Welcome back. Jiu-Jitsu 2000 here today. I'm back. I hope you're doing fantastic out there. In this video today, we have another offering from LiTime. This is our 12 volt, 230 amp hour deep cycle lithium iron phosphate battery with low temperature protection. Now the retail price of this battery is a little bit over $600, but if you can catch this battery right now, as I'm filming this video on Prime Day, you can get it for under 500 bucks. After that, it's probably going to go up to maybe $560 or something like that. So let's go ahead and open this package up and see what's included when you purchase one of these batteries. The shipping was very fast on this battery, so very fast shipping. Looks like the battery is packaged very well, as I can see here. First thing that we see is this little welcome packet right here. Very nice. Life and Discovery, it says. So we'll just unzip this and see what's inside here. So we'll start with this Life and Discovery pamphlet. We explore the possibility of life. Little letter from the founder of LiTime. Very nice. And then this is basically a catalog of their products. So they offer lots of different batteries. Lithium iron phosphate batteries. Here is a good list of their products. Here is their battery certificates. Highest level safety based on the CE, the FCC, on ROHS. So it has those certifications. Various applications that you can use a battery like this for: camping, off-grid, home energy system, portable mobile energy or storage, boats, trolling motors and fishing backup power, lots of things, car audio. You can use them for a ham radio setup. And right here it gives you a basic diagram of a home system where you could put 16 batteries. They have 4 parallel, 4 series. They have a charge controller, the inverter, the battery bank. They've got the solar panel, and then of course your loads throughout the house. So really nice little chart there. Customer and delivery service page. Very nice. And then here is some contact information for LiTime. service@litime.com. In case you need to get in touch with them 24 hours a day. And then on the back, your professional lithium battery provider. The next thing that we see is the service card. You can fill this out. It gives you some notices before using the battery. Basically read the information, put some gloves on, make sure you charge it all the way up. And then of course on the back, it talks about protecting your wires, making sure that they're not short-circuiting, things like that. So very nice that they include this. They say not to connect these batteries with different brands or different specifications in a series or parallel. And then of course it talks about the supported power that you can get: 50 watts, 100 watts, 800 watts, all the way up to 2,000 watts. Then they include this cool page here, which is stickers. We love stickers, and I think that's cool. It's a nice touch that they add to this package. As you guys know, my water bottle always has stickers on it, so pretty cool. I like that. Next thing that we see in the bag here is the product manual. I'm going to spend a little bit more time on this section of the video, making sure that everybody gets a good glimpse at this product manual. Right here is the product overview. So all the specifications of the battery here. I'll be talking about a lot of this stuff in the video today. M8 bolts, 1.25 millimeter. Here are the dimensions of the battery: 19 inches wide, 6.7 inches deep, and 9.5 inches tall. And then again, it talks about the bolts that are included, 8mm by 16mm or 5/16 by 5/8. These are metric bolts. The next page that we see is the important safety instructions. I'll scroll through this fairly quickly. If there's anything that you wish to read, feel free to pause your screen during this section of the video. Here are some warnings. The next page is the contents, which has the battery parameters, things to know before using, charging methods, and how to estimate the battery capacity, state of charge. Recommended cable sizing, that's cool that they give you that. Series and parallel connections, how to connect the batteries, what to do if the battery stops. Here is the battery pack's main parameters. This is all the good information that you guys might be looking for. Maximum continuous discharge current 200 amps. Maximum continuous charge current 200 amps. That's fantastic. Maximum discharge current for 5 seconds is 600 amp. That's nice. This battery weighs 70 pounds. Again, here's the dimensions. This is made from ABS material, so it's a flame retardant plastic, IPX5. Here are the temperature ratings, so you can charge the battery above freezing but not above 122 degrees Fahrenheit. And you can discharge it all the way down to -4 and all the way up to 140 degrees. Now the storage temperature is 14 degrees all the way up to 122 degrees. And when it resumes charging, it will do that at 41 degrees. So when the low temperature cutoff kicks in, that's when it'll kick back on to charging again. Very cool. Things to know before using the battery. Very nice. And then they say here that you should recharge the battery every 3 months. Charging methods, solar panels, you can use a charge controller. Here's all the parameters that you would need for that charge controller to have in it. A lot of the charge controllers these days come with all those parameters already mapped into the system. So very cool. You can also use a battery charger. That's what we'll be using today. It needs to have 14.2 volt up to 14.6 volts, and it is a lithium iron phosphate charger. It has to be one of those style of chargers. You can also use an alternator or a generator to charge battery. And then right here, how to estimate the battery capacity. So if you look at the voltage of the battery, it'll give you an approximate state of charge. 13.3 volts is about 75% full, as you can see here. And then of course it gives you some information to read. Very nice. Recommended cable sizing chart. Very nice. And then on the next page it talks about series and parallel connections. So here are the batteries, 4 of them in a series, and here are 4 of them in parallel. You want to make sure that when you do any of these wiring configurations that you individually charge each battery before wiring them together. You want to make sure that the state of charge on each additional battery is about the same. How to connect the batteries, make sure that you're wearing insulating gloves. I don't hardly ever do that. I think that's to protect yourself more than the battery. Voltage balancing, that's what I was talking about. Battery to battery connections. Connecting them in parallel. We're almost done, folks. And here's what batteries look like in parallel. Here's what they look like in a series. So you have 2 strings in parallel connected in a series. So you have 8 batteries there. And then right here is another example. They're using bus bars to get to the positive and negative of the load. So very cool. I like the little diagrams and stuff that they include in this manual. It's very good. And then what to do in the event that the battery stops working. If it can't work or can't be charged or the voltage is below 9 volt. General steps: if the BMS is cut off the battery for protection, follow these steps. Cut off the connection from the battery. Leave the battery alone for 30 minutes. And then of course you can add a charger to wake up the battery. You could also use a charge controller with the sun to wake up the battery, so in an off-grid situation. And there's the back, again, LiTime.com. And then right down there is some more contact information for Lithium Time. You can see there's a little sticker. It says post bolts here. So these are the bolts for the terminals. They also give you the insulation covers and the washers and lock washers. So very nice. I like that they have the Phillips on them, so you can use a drill, and they give you these extra washers, and then you would put your insulator on the head of the bolt like that so that you don't short circuit by accident. Let's go ahead and pull this off, and there's a look at the battery down in the box. It's a long skinny battery. Pull it straight up out of the box and set the box away. I like that they come packaged really nice with this thick plastic around it. Very good, well protected, keeps it dust free, keeps it clean, so when it arrives it's in good shape. This battery is nice. Let's go ahead and take these insulators off, and what we'll do is we'll put these little M8 bolts on here. I love, like I mentioned earlier, that you can use a drill to put these on. That's really nice. You can see it's a 12 volt battery, 230 amp hour plus. It says low temperature lithium iron phosphate battery. And as you can see on the sides of the battery, you got these nice rope handles. And then on the back, it talks about trolling motors, manufacturer contact, service at litime.com. And it gives you some applications: RVs, campers, outdoor activities, solar and wind power, power backups, other lead acid AGM battery replacements, etc. And 2944 watt hours is the capacity of this battery. It does have a 5-year warranty, and then it does talk about some cautions here. So very nice looking battery, as you can see. Let's go ahead and take a voltage reading so we can see where this battery is right out of the box from the factory. So let's find out what we got in there. Hopefully the camera's picking that up. We are looking at 13.15 volts. 13.15. That's not too bad, but we definitely need to charge this battery. So right here I have a lithium iron phosphate battery charger. I'm going to go ahead and hook up the negative right here, just like that, and we'll hook up the positive. And as you can see, the charger has begun, and I will let this battery charge until this red indicator turns green. So it's going to take a little bit of time. So while this battery is charging, I thought that it would be a good idea to talk about some of the specifications in case we might have missed it when I went through the user manual. This battery provides a 200 amp current. You can use it for 12 volt trolling motors that have between 30 and 70 pounds of thrust. They can be used in marine environments. You can put them in your RVs, your motorhomes, travel trailers. You can use them for backup power, off-grid applications. Maybe you are a ham radio operator and you want to set up a communications station or a radio station. Tiny house life, you can use these for. If you have an electric security camera or game cameras or even an electric fence that opens automatically, you can use a battery like this for it. I have a well that just got dug, and I built a well house, a little pump house going around the pressure tank and the jet pump. And I figure a battery like this would be perfect to put power onto that pump house to operate the jet pump. So all kinds of applications that you can use these types of lithium iron phosphate batteries for. Now let's talk about the low temperature cutoff protection again. So this battery will stop charging when it hits 0 degrees centigrade or 32 degrees Fahrenheit. The BMS will kick in and it will stop charging. I love that because that is what kills these batteries, and for it to have that protection, that's awesome. It will disconnect the loads, so meaning you're drawing the battery by running whatever you're running. It'll do that at minus 20 centigrade or minus 4 Fahrenheit. It'll prevent damage from the charge or discharge in low temperatures and cold weather. So awesome kind of battery if you live in a cold environment where you're gonna want to make sure that this thing is protected. I live in the Southwest, Arizona, New Mexico, Utah, states like that. We have fairly warm weather, unless you're up from the place in Utah where my friend Jason Williams lives. He gets really cold weather, so a battery like this would be really good for him. It does have automatic overload protection and recovery, so you don't really have to do anything. You just have to wait 30 minutes and the BMS will reset itself. And again, if that does not work, you can hook this up to another battery in parallel and jump start it, or you can hook it up to a charge controller and a solar panel, or a charger itself to wake the battery up. Now this battery is made from grade A cells, and they advertise 4,000 cycles at 100% depth of discharge. That is absolutely fantastic. So if you were to discharge this battery all the way down to 0, you can do that 4,000 times. So if you do the math and you take 4,000 cycles divided by 365 days out of the year, you're looking at 10.95 years of life that you could get out of this battery. Now, if you're not drawing it down to 100% depth of discharge, they say that you can get up to 15,000 cycles. Now, folks, if you do the math on 15,000 cycles, that would be probably only dropping it down maybe 20% to where you have 80% left or something like that. You would get 41 years of life out of this battery. That is just crazy. Now this battery is made from green technology, so it's a non-toxic battery. If you take a battery like this that's lead acid, it'll off gas, and if you puncture lead acid, it could start fire. Lithium iron phosphate does not off gas, and it doesn't have toxic chemicals. So if you want to put this kind of battery in a living environment, you can do that. And if you puncture these, they have far lower chances of catching fire than lead acid batteries. Now the 200 amp BMS is awesome. It has lots of protection systems. It's got overcharge protection, over discharge protection, over current protection, over temperature protection, low temperature protection, as well as short circuit protection. So that's awesome. Now, like I mentioned earlier, this battery is IPX5. So it is water resistant, and it's also resistant to dust. So a battery like this is 6 times more cost effective to operate than the equivalent capacity battery in a lead acid battery. So if you want to talk about each cycle, lithium iron phosphate batteries like this would charge you about 21 cents per cycle, where the equivalent in lead acid batteries would be $1.21 per cycle. That's crazy. Plus, not to mention, the lifespan of the lead acid battery is far, far, far less than what you're getting out of here. You're getting 4,000 cycles at a minimum on this, where lead acid, you're lucky to get 500 cycles. So this battery has 2,560 watts of power, and you can do 2,944 watt hours of usable energy. Now this battery is 65% lighter in weight than a 200 amp 12 volt lead acid battery. You can expand this battery like we read earlier. You can do up to 4 parallel, 4 in series. You can have up to 51.2 volts at 920 amp hours, 47.104 kilowatt hours. That is just absolutely fantastic. Now this battery is made with 4 3.2 volt cells in a series. If you have a 100 watt draw that you're putting on this battery, you could get 29 hours of 100 watts. So that'd be something like me running my laptop or something. Let's say it's a 200 watt draw. We could go up to 14 hours on this battery. That would be like running my desktop computer. Or maybe we want to pull 1,000 watts as our draw. on this battery. You could do that for over 2 hours. And if you have a 1500 watt draw, like maybe my little electric waffle iron or something like that, you could pull 1500 watts easily for over an hour. This battery does have a 5-year warranty as well. And as we can see here, we have a green indicator which is telling us that charging is complete. So we'll go ahead and disconnect the charger from the battery. And let's take our multimeter once again and get a reading of what kind of voltage we have in this battery after it's fully charged. So we're looking at 13.82 volts. That is fantastic. So this battery is fully charged. Now we can start using it. And now we will hook up a power inverter. Today we're going to use the Top Bull 3000 watt power inverter. You can use whatever kind of power inverter you want. Let's go ahead and hook up the negative terminals right here. And before I connect the positive terminals, I usually like to tap them on the bolt, because then you'll see that little spark that charges the capacitors in the power inverter. There's that little spark. Now that we have the spark out of the way, we can go ahead and connect the positives. So just like this. You should never see multiple sparks. It should just be that one spark. If you're ever seeing more than one spark, something is wrong. Let's make sure these connections are nice and tight, but don't over tighten them. Don't want to strip out the threads. So now at this point we have our power inverter ready to go. We can turn the switch on and get our power. At this point we are ready to start testing this battery. Now, some of my favorite tests to conduct whenever I test a power inverter or a battery is things like these pressure cookers. I think that these are good tests because these are things that I would most likely be doing when I go out in the woods. So here we have this 3-quart pressure cooker. I'll just set a little bit of water in there. We'll get this lid on. Like so. Make sure this is in the right position and hit pressure cook. 141 watts, 648 watts, and the battery is conducting this test just fine. We're going to take this a little bit further and let's introduce a second pressure cooker. This is going to be the 6-quart model, so a little bit larger. This would be nice because a test like this, you could be cooking maybe meat in the larger one and veggies in the smaller one or something like this. So this is a pretty good test. So as you can see, the small one is pulling about 650 watts. Now the larger one, let's put some water in there so we can do a little bit of a test. Don't want to run the thing dry for the test since I'm not actually cooking. Put the lid on, make sure it's pressured, and push pressure cook and just wait a few seconds. Right now we're drawing 650 watts, and as soon as this other one kicks on, it takes about 1,000 watts. So we're drawing 1568 right now. 1568 watts, 1570. So as you can see, the battery has plenty of power to run both of these pressure cookers simultaneously. I'm filling these wires, making sure that they're not getting hot and they're not even warm. So as you can see, the battery clearly passes this test, 1566 watts. That is fantastic. Once these pressure cookers come up to pressure, the cool thing is the wattage drops down and it doesn't consume hardly anything. So right now you can see our battery voltage is 12 volts. We have 109 volts to these AC outlets. Fan is running 39 degrees centigrade, and we are pulling 1559 watts currently out of this sine wave inverter. There is the battery indicator that's telling us the amount of battery that we have. And let's take a look at these wires once again and just make sure that they're not getting hot to the touch. And everything is looking good. So we are clearly running this test, and the battery is performing like a champion. So as we can see right now, both of these pressure cookers, you can see the timer has started, which means both of them have came up to pressure. We are not drawing any more wattage. The lights above me are dimmed because I'm going to be running another test, and I need this orange extension cord. This orange extension cord is what was running the overhead lights. I'm going to go ahead and plug it into the inverter. And behind the camera, on the other end of the orange cord, there is an AC unit. It's a window unit. We're going to go ahead and test that unit and see if we can get up. And here's a look at the AC unit that we want to run off the orange extension cord. Let's go ahead and plug it in and see if we can get this thing to run. There's low fan, and there is low cool. So right now you can see that the window unit is running. Let's go take a look at the inverter, see what kind of wattage we're pulling, and as we can see, the battery is obviously carrying this load. So let's go take a look at the numbers. So here you can see we're drawing 379 watts. We are producing 109 volts on these outlets. 12.8 is the battery voltage, and you can see the battery level indicator. So clearly we are running that window AC unit with no problems at all. In fact, this is a pretty light test for a battery this nice. This battery is handling that load no problem. These wires aren't even warm. They're cool to the touch. So the amount of time that we could probably run this unit off of that battery would be about, I'd say, 7 to 8 hours. We could run this window unit nice and cool off of that battery. That is fantastic. So a battery like this, you can clearly see, would be a good asset to an off-grid situation. So now that the cooler has kicked on officially, we're climbing in our wattage. It went up to about 470 watts, which is not bad at all still. And the pressure cooker, since this thing is up to pressure, let's go ahead and disconnect it and add that Makita battery charger. So we'll just kind of push that out of the way. Let's get the Makita battery charger in. Set that right there. We are pulling 469, 470 watts. As you can see, we have the green indicator telling us that we're ready to put on a battery for charging. Let's go ahead and put on the battery here. Now you can see the red indicator. So here we're running the AC window unit behind me, as well as the battery charger. 593 watts we saw a second ago, 588 watts. This battery is almost fully charged. We have a red, green. Green is just around the corner. And as you can see, this battery easily runs all of these tasks with flying colors. Now, as we can see here, we have a green indicator telling us that our battery is fully charged. So that's a good test. Let's go ahead and disconnect the battery charger, and I want to run another test. That is my little electric hot plate or cooker. This is also a good thing to use when you're out camping or if you were in an off-grid situation. So let's go ahead and turn this on. Let's go all the way to max and see what kind of numbers we're pulling. 1399 watts, 1400 watts. Let's put some water on there to boil. 1397 watts. It's working very well, and the hot plate is starting to heat up. It's not red hot yet, but you can see the little indicator that's telling us that the hot plate is on. And here we can see we're pulling 1385 watts. As you can see, we have a rolling boil on the water. The cooktop is working fantastic. The battery is working fantastic. Let's feel The wires, they are not even warm. They are room temperature at best. So my final thoughts on this battery, it's fantastic. I was able to run the cooktop, both pressure cookers, the cooler behind me, as well as the battery charger. And these are all tasks that we can do off the grid in a camping situation, off-grid situation. If you have these types of appliances, maybe on a boat or something like that, this is a good battery, folks. Look at all the stuff that I was able to do. So if you're interested in this battery, I will put a link in the description box down below. Please feel free to leave comments down below. Like this video, share this video, and until next time, folks, again, thank you for watching. I hope you guys have a beautiful day. We'll see you on the next one. Bye for now, everybody.